In the ancient days, when the 9 worlds were held together by the mighty branches of Yggdrasil, there lived in Asgard the god Thor, son of Odin, all-father and ruler of the gods. Thor was the guardian of the heavenly halls, a fearsome warrior with a red beard and the hammer Mjolnir always in his grip. That hammer, forged by the dwarves in the deep heart of the mountains, could shatter cliffs, summon storms, and protect the Aesir from the chaos of the giants. But one morning, Thor awoke as usual, stretched, and suddenly felt only cold emptiness where Mjolnir had always lain. He shook his golden mane, shook his beard, turned over everything in his halls, from forged chests to stone walls. No hammer, not a trace, only the echo of its absence, like the terrible silence before a storm. In rage and confusion, the god of thunder rushed to the most cunning of all the gods, Loki. Loki, blood brother to Odin, yet never kindred in spirit, was the god of trickery and fire, master of schemes, able to change shape and weave webs of words. Sometimes he aided the Aesir, sometimes he sowed discord. But this time, Thor knew only Loki's sharp mind could unravel the mystery. "Loki," he thundered, "help me! I have searched the whole earth and the heavens. The hammer is gone!"
Loki did not argue. He only smiled with the corner of his mouth. His eyes slid along the horizon, and in that instant he already suspected whose work this was. Without a word, he went to Freya, goddess of love and fertility, mistress of Vanaheim, whose tears turned to gold and whose beauty could enchant even giants. "Sister of the gods," said Loki, "lend me your feather cloak. I must find Thor's hammer." Freya, ever generous and wise, nodded at once. It was the cloak of falcon feathers called Fjadoham, which gave wings and the speed of wind, allowing one to fly through the worlds, from Midgard of men to Jotunheim of giants. "Take it," she answered with a smile. "Though it is adorned with gold and silver, take it without fear." Loki threw the cloak over his shoulders. The feathers whispered like the first breath of a storm. A moment later, he was no longer a god. He was a great falcon, soaring across the rainbow bridge Bifrost, past Heimdall, the watchman, whose eyes see everything, down past rivers and mountains of Midgard, and onward to the icy peaks of Jotunheim, realm of the giants, eternal foes of the Aesir, where chaos and raw strength ruled. There, upon a massive hill, sat Thrym, king of the giants, huge as a mountain, voice echoing among the cliffs. Golden leashes in his hands, 2 monstrous hounds growling at his feet, while he himself combed the manes of his world-trampling horses. He saw the falcon and knew it was Loki, and with joy and triumph in his voice he called, "Greetings, Loki! How fare the gods? How fare the elves? Why do you come alone, without company?" Loki landed, changed back, and answered plainly. "The gods are in turmoil. The elves are in turmoil. Speak plainly, Thrym. Was it you who stole Thor's hammer?" The giant did not even try to hide his delight. His laughter rolled like distant thunder. "Yes, it was I. I buried it 8 miles beneath the earth, in the darkest corners of my realm. No one will ever take it back, unless you give me Freya as my wife. Her beauty will light my halls. Her fertility will bless my lands." There it was, the cruel, brazen demand. Loki said nothing. He threw the feathers over himself once more, and again became a falcon, arrowing back through the clouds to Asgard, carrying news that spelled danger. Thor met him with an impatient roar. "Did you find it? Speak, or will you dodge again like a fox?" "I found it," Loki answered calmly, "and news, and trouble. The hammer is with Thrym. He will return it only if Freya becomes his bride." Thor did not even blink. He turned to the goddess and bellowed, "Freya, put on the bridal veil. We ride to the giants." Freya blazed with fury. She snorted with such rage that all Asgard trembled. The walls shook as in an earthquake, and her priceless necklace, Brisingamen, symbol of her power and beauty, forged by 4 dwarves in exchange for her favor, shattered into 1,000 amber fragments that sparkled in the air. "Even if I were mad with longing, I will not go to the giants," she snapped. "They are rough as stone and cold as their ice." There it was, the cruel, brazen demand.
There was no other way. The gods gathered in council in the great hall of Valhalla. Odin, All-Father, sat silent with his ravens on his shoulders, listening. Tyr, god of war, spoke of battle, but without the hammer the Aesir were weakened. Balder, the Shining One, spoke of peace, but giants do not listen to gentle words. They debated long, they thought long. Then Heimdall spoke, guardian of the Rainbow Bridge, he whose eyes see farther than any world, whose ears hear the grass grow, whose horn, Gjallarhorn, will wake the gods on the day of Ragnarok. "We take Freya's bridal veil, but we put it on Thor." Thor roared in outrage like thunder in a clear sky. "Have you lost your minds? Me in a dress?" But Loki cut him short hard. "Be silent. This is no jest. If the hammer does not return soon, the giants will cross Bifrost, and we will not stand without your strength." And so it began. They dressed Thor in a magnificent bridal gown, stitched with golden threads. They mended the broken necklace and hung it around his mighty neck. They fitted a bodice with false breasts stuffed with soft moss. They adorned his now ample chest with the finest jewels, rubies, sapphires, pearls. And atop it all, a fragrant bridal headdress crowned with summer flowers. Loki, barely holding back laughter, added, "And I shall be your bridesmaid." No one had ever looked more ridiculous than Thor that day, the mighty god of thunder wrapped in silk and lace. Quickly, to Jotunheim! They harnessed Thor's 2 fierce goats, Tangnasir and Tangnost, faithful companions that draw his chariot through storms and rise again even after a feast if their bones are untouched. The chariot rose, wind whistled in their ears, wheels thundered across the clouds, and soon they reached the land of giants, cold, rocky, where the winds howl like wolves.
Thrym greeted them with a cry of triumph. "Make ready! The bride has come! Freya shall be my wife!" And at once he began to court his bride. "Freya, look! I have oxen with golden horns, black bulls dark as night, treasures beyond counting, heaps of gold, sacks of rubies. All I ever lacked was you to make my halls shine." Evening fell. Shadows lengthened. They brought forth ale in enormous horns. The feast began. Tables groaned under meat, bread, fruit. The giants roared with joy, pounding the tables with their fists. Thor rolled up the sleeves of his gown, sat down, and began to eat. First the dainties, cheeses, nuts, fruits, then 8 fat silver salmon, then a whole roasted ox, then 3 barrels of mead, one after another, sweet as nectar. The giants froze, mouths open. Thrym, eyes wide, muttered, "Never in my life have I seen a bride eat so much or drink so much. She has taken more than 3 of my warriors." Loki quickly spoke up, innocent-faced. "She has taken nothing in her mouth for 8 days. She was so nervous about the wedding, so eager to meet you."
Thrym, now thoroughly warmed by drink and desire, decided to kiss his bride. He lifted the veil and recoiled as if struck by lightning. His face went pale. "What eyes are these? They burn like twin fires in the night, like coals from the underworld." Loki, unruffled. "She has not slept for 8 nights. So fiercely did she long for you, my king." Then came Thrym's sister, huge as a crag, voice like an avalanche, and reminded him of the dowry. "Where are the gifts? Where are the treasures for the bride?" Thrym could wait no longer. "Bring the hammer," he shouted. "Let it bless my bride according to custom. Let Mjolnir lie in her lap and seal the union." The servants carried in Mjolnir, heavy, shining. They laid it upon the bride's knees. And in that very instant a laugh rang out, deep, furious, mad, like thunder rolling above the fjords. Thor tore off the veil, seized the hammer, and the storm began. He struck Thrym down with the first blow. The hammer fell like lightning. Then he went through the giants like a smith's hammer on an anvil. Blood flooded the walls. Wedding flowers and jewels rained to the floor. The false padding fell from beneath the dress, and Thor laughed, loud, terrible, triumphant, sowing death and reclaiming what was his. So the hammer returned home, and the giants long remembered that one should never steal the weapon of the thunder god. And the old skalds say that in this tale lies a secret of nature. When the frost giants rule in winter, the storms fall silent. Thor's hammer sleeps. But when spring comes, it awakens again, and the thunder rolls once more.